The pounding on my cabin door at 6:30 a.m. was like a gunshot in the quiet morning. Heart hammering, I stumbled out of bed and flung open the door to find two police officers, faces hard as stone, with a woman named Vanessa Reed smirking behind them, her clipboard clutched like a trophy. "Mr. Hayes, you're trespassing on community property," one officer snapped. "Vacate now or face arrest." My blood turned to ice. This woman had dialed 911 to steal my family's lake cabin, a place my grandfather built with his own hands. For 4 months, she'd tortured me with fake violations and relentless harassment, thinking she'd break me. She thought I was just another pushover who'd fold under her pressure. She was dead wrong. Vanessa had no clue about the secrets my family held, secrets that would shatter her scheme. Let me take you back to the start of this nightmare, because you won't believe how twisted this got. I'm Nathan Hayes, a 30-year-old digital artist who fled the city's chaos for my grandfather's cabin on Clearwater Lake. It's a simple wooden structure with a dock my grandfather, William Hayes, crafted when this valley was wild and untouched. After years of grinding through toxic clients and brutal deadlines, the cabin was my refuge, a place to create art and find peace. I thought I'd escaped the world's madness. Then Vanessa Reed moved in 3 doors down, and hell followed her. It began subtly. Vanessa appeared at my door one Tuesday morning, all fake smiles and sharp eyes, gripping that clipboard. "Hi, Nathan, I'm Vanessa, your new neighbor and the newly elected HOA president," she said, her voice syrupy but cold. "I'm here to make our community better." Something felt wrong the way she eyed my cabin like it was up for auction. She rattled off suggestions about paint colors, landscaping rules, dock permits, and community standards. I explained that my cabin was grandfathered in, built long before any HOA, and my family had always maintained it. Her smile didn't budge, but her eyes flashed with something icy. "Times change, Nathan," she said. "Communities evolve. We'll work together to meet our standards." I should have seen the warning signs right then. Within a week, the harassment kicked off. An official-looking letter with a fancy HOA letterhead landed in my mailbox, claiming my cabin's natural wood stain violated their approved color palette and demanding $50 a day until I complied. I called the number, and Vanessa answered, her tone sweet but cutting. "It's about property values, Nathan," she said, dismissing my protests about the cabin's historic charm. When I pointed out my family predated her HOA, she laughed a cold, mocking sound. "That's not how it works, dear. Everyone follows the rules." My neighbor, Frank Larson, a 68-year-old retired postal worker who'd lived here for 15 years, showed up at my door the next evening, his face grim. "Nathan, that woman's trouble," he said. "We've never had an HOA president like her. She's bullying everyone with fines and threats. Most folks are too scared to fight back." Frank's warning hit hard. He'd seen her kind before predators who don't stop until they get what they want. I thought I could handle one nosy neighbor. I was wrong. By month 2, Vanessa cranked up the pressure. Fines jumped to $200 a day, and violations came faster than I could read them. My dock was a navigation hazard. My garden was neglected. Even my chimney smoke was a community nuisance. Each letter bore Vanessa's neat signature and that fake letterhead. I tried talking to neighbors, but most were too terrified to speak. The few who did whispered about Vanessa's threats of massive fines if they didn't back her community initiatives. She was turning our quiet lakeside into a prison, and I was her main target. Month 3 brought her boldest move. I woke to find chains and padlocks on the community dock me grandfather's dock, used by everyone for decades. Red signs screamed, "Private property, HOA members only." When I confronted Vanessa, she stood there, arms crossed, smirking. The community voted, Nathan, 8-2, to restrict access to compliant properties. I was livid. "That dock belongs to my family," I shouted. She shrugged, calm as ever. "Old agreements don't override new decisions. Comply, and we'll discuss your privileges." My hands shook with rage as she sauntered off, her clipboard swinging like a weapon. By month 4, Vanessa went full scorched earth. City officials, building inspectors, fire marshals, environmental health officers started showing up, all responding to anonymous complaints about my property. They found no violations, but each visit brought fees and paperwork, bleeding me dry. Every official pointed to the same source, the HOA president. Then came the court papers and injunction for immediate property seizure due to code violations and safety concerns. I had 48 hours to leave or face legal action. That's when Vanessa made her biggest mistake. She called 911, claiming I was a squatter. Standing in my pajamas as the police drove away, something broke inside me. For months, I growled to my empty cabin, slamming my fist on the table. 4 months of your nonsense. No more playing nice. Vanessa wanted worst get one. But first, I needed to know my legal ground. Something told me she'd done this before. I called Frank, who rushed over, his postal worker instincts sharp. She's not just difficult, Nathan, he said. She's dangerous. Predators like her exploit every weakness. We tore through boxes of old papers, hunting for proof of my family's ownership. My grandfather wasn't big on records, and my parents never worried about proving what we'd owned for generations. Then I remembered something he'd told me as a kid, fishing off his dock. There's an emergency box in the basement, Nathan. Open it only when you're out of options. I'd thought he was being dramatic, but now, with everything on the line, those words burned. Xi artifact headers for ID equals 915FC6FF06 5E4D4FA5B94B6A9CF6E540. Artifact underscore version headers for ID equals 327047790744453F6587952D3. Title equals Clearwater underscore lake underscore storied. TXT. Content type equals text/plain. Frank and I raced to the basement, digging through decades of junk. After 2 hours of dust and spiderwebs, Frank suggested checking behind the water heater. Your grandfather was smart, he said. He'd hide something clever. Sure enough, wedged in a tight corner was a rusted tackle box, untouched for years. My hands shook as I pried it open. Inside was a manila folder with documents that looked ancient, faded ink, official seals, signatures from another time. As I read, my heart raced. The key was a 1962 property agreement with a hand-drawn survey map. It showed my family didn't just own the cabin, they'd helped develop Clearwater Lake. The agreement stated the Hayes family retained permanent ownership of the cabin, dock, and 50 feet of beach, exempt from any future HOA rules. Even more shocking, my grandfather, William Hayes, had donated 80% of our land to create the community. Vanessa was charging dock fees on our property. A letter in his handwriting read, "If you're reading this, someone's trying to take our home. This land is our legacy, built by immigrants who gave everything. Don't let them steal it." Pride and fury flooded me. Vanessa wasn't just harassing Mesh, was attacking the family that made this place possible. While I sorted the documents, Frank investigated Vanessa's background. His postal instincts caught odd patterns in her mail packages from legal firms, property assessors, and developers. Online, he found articles tying her to similar schemes. In Pine Lake, Montana, a family lost their cabin to HOA pressure and a cheap sale. In Cedar Point, Nevada, a widow was driven out by violations. Each property was flipped to developers for profit. Vanessa wasn't just a bully, she was running a criminal empire. Frank's biggest discovery was Vanessa's house. It belonged to Evelyn Porter, an elderly woman with memory issues. Vanessa had tricked Evelyn into signing documents for community gardens, which actually gave Vanessa HOA authority. When Frank visited Evelyn, she was kind but confused. "Vanessa's so helpful," she said. "She handles the complicated stuff." When shown the HOA papers, Evelyn looked lost. I thought I was signing for flowers. Vanessa had exploited an elderly woman's trust to control the neighborhood. It was elder abuse, pure and simple. Armed with this, I prepared for court. Vanessa arrived, untouchable designer suit, high-priced lawyer, briefcases of fake evidence. She'd filed last-minute motions claiming my cabin was an environmental threat, with doctored photos and fake reports. Her presentation was flawless, painting me as a troublemaker. But I was ready. I handed the judge my grandfather's documents, explaining how the Hayes family created Clearwater Lake and was exempt from HOA rules. Vanessa's confidence cracked as the judge studied the papers. Then Evelyn testified, her voice shaky but honest, exposing Vanessa's manipulation. Vanessa panicked, shouting that Evelyn was confused, but the judge's eyes turned cold. "Ms. Reed, are you admitting you used an elderly woman's signature to claim authority?" he asked. Vanessa unraveled, blurting out that she'd managed property transitions across states, exposing her scam. Her lawyer couldn't stop her. The judge ruled in my favor, voiding all HOA actions and ordering an investigation into Vanessa for fraud, elder abuse, and property theft. Outside, reporters swarmed as Vanessa's televised meltdown defending her development tactics sealed her fate. Police uncovered a $2 million scheme across 4 states. Vanessa's rental house held forged documents and emails with developers paying her to target properties. She'd victimized dozens, exploiting elderly homeowners to steal legacies. She got 8 years in prison and $400,000 in restitution. Evelyn moved to a safer facility, and a real HOA restored the dock and community spirit. My cabin was declared a historic property, honoring the Hayes legacy. Sitting on my grandfather's dock, watching the sunrise, I feel peace. Vanessa tried to erase us, but she only strengthened our legacy. To anyone facing a bully like her, know your rights, document everything, find allies. Truth can topple the slickest criminals. Did Vanessa know the storm she unleashed?